and they were down before I think the third round even happened. So here we have it. A lot of our players, our top player, Kiyoon, is going to be going for, again, that rod just builds into so many opportunities.
Right here on the start, we'll have to see if anything gets shaken up in the second half of games. We are 3 out of 6 completed. So while there is quite a bit of disparity between the top and bottom from 20 trickling all down to 6, that can be a different story depending on how these future rounds go.
Ooh.
And we're going to start out watching Soju right now. He is in a pivotal position, 5th place on the leaderboard, 13 points. While we can say the top 4 might shore up a little bit and play careful, the bottom 3 have to play crazy aggressive. Soju has to get a good finish and then perhaps a win. So that's got to be, I mean, is that an extra stressor? I'm sure these guys are pros and know how to deal with it, Kelly, but he's looking at this saying, I have a little bit of wiggle room, but I have to go big now or I'm out of reach.
It's going to be one of those things that after this game, a lot of these players are just going to be without reach, without, like, you know, too far away from being able to reach to the top, especially with how strong our top 4 is being. So, yes, it's not even like I'm going to have to do well this game. Soju's going to have to get a 1st or 2nd place in this game to even hope to be able to get that incredible 13th gen Intel processor.
And now here's my next question, Tigress. In a format like this, where first is everything, you know who's competing, Kiyoon, Souless, Robin, they're up there at the top with Prestivent. If you've got a comp that's kind of working, are we going to see them start to, say, buy up units that one of the other 3 are looking for? Is there some sort of, like, super meta where you effectively maybe say, I'll take 3rd, but I'm going to attack this person really hard and prevent them from getting higher than 5th?
I think that's something that some always like to think of once in a while. I deny, especially when things like reroll comps are very popular, or you know that somebody is trying to 3-star something and you do have that excess econ. Maybe you'll throw some of them onto your board, but especially at this stage right now, you know, everyone's trying to figure it out. They want to build up their econ to a very healthy level, try and go to that Krugs with about 30 plus gold into their pocket. So we'll see if they want to do some, you know.
So probably not at this stage, but in the late game, we might see some bonus Aoshen sitting on.
You know, I mean, a lot of people were just picking up to run for themselves. So multiple lobbies where dragons are equally contested, where, you know, we had multiple Jades in the one prior, and then a couple of the Tempest comps that ended up working out well enough where that Aoshin was a more popular pick, especially when you had the Mage Aoshin to really elevate the comp on through. But a lot of these teams, you know, in these early stage, still trying to decide what they want to land on in the future.
Wow, I'm so surprised that that player just decided to not go for the trade sector. That's such a good augment, especially me liking Astrals. It's just such a an important augment to be able to build. But my goodness, a Volley Bear already coming on here with the Gwynsos. That is just going to be so rough, and it looks like they're going to be building into Legends. So obviously it's going to be a second before they can grab Ornn, but that is going to be a pretty strong start before we even hit 2-2.
I mean, I can still play Set, right?
Astral. Robin going for Astral, but already taking a bit of damage. And it looks like they're going to be going for that ability or that augment that gives you stacking attack damage and attack power if you leave your units onto the deck.
Really try and build towards later. So right now you have the Astrals in just to have a decent board in these early PvP rounds. Skarner is a very uncontested unit, so you can often just go ahead and pick up to get that 2-star right now. Some of that econ towards later when you get those orbs. And then on the board itself, to capitalize upon the augment, have some units that will begin stacking those stats if he wants to go into the Revel or the Cannoneer direction to carry him through. On the opposite side for Soju, who we had been traveling along with before, working towards that Guardian front line for that durability, has the Senna here starting to stack some of the items that he might want to transfer to a Corki or the like later.
Yeah, and also with the Guardian Senna as well. You know, everyone loves putting Guardian on Senna. But obviously, when you have so little units, you're just going to put that emblem onto anyone there to be able to build up your synergies.
I don't lose anyone anymore.
Yeah, and especially for units that you plan on discarding later when in these early rounds wanting to have those tanky stats and that durability. Hey, give Senna that additional opportunity to get her cast off and lay down that damage of the damage dealer of this early composition. But 88 HP right now for Robin. just looking to try to take as many units off of the board as possible as he lose streaks here and builds up some of this economy, since he doesn't exactly want to go for the Astral in long term and is still looking for the comp that he wishes to empower.
I do appreciate it, though. You know, this is a bit of a
this might be
risk
an
right
eight,
now, and he's in third
low-key.
place, so he's definitely within
Because
contention
there's a
of being
chance
able to
that
win the
we
entire
are
thing.
down to
So by
2-2 for a
going
very
with
long time.
Astrals, grabbing that early econ, going for the lose streak, but also having the board, the augment that gives you like bonuses for having units on the board, that's a risky play, honestly.
And
That's really good.
It is, but I will say
DV.
what was it? The Spatula Cup that just wrapped up. Anyone who got an Ao Shin comp up and running was
Yeah, I think
guaranteed
Milk is
100%
playing
top 4. So if you
Good.
are
The trainer.
trying to build to say get yourself in that 3-2-3-4 position to gain some points and maintain your top, Astrals could be the way to go.
Go for the
All right.
last,
everyone wants to see Astral come back through. Everyone's like, please, Astral.
I want Cavalier Mirage. I just want more Cavalier Mirage today. I'm not getting any of it.
Oh,
I like it.
That's true. We did get some in the beginning of the day, the Cavalier Mirage. That is a very reliable comp. Then we saw some kind of going for that Cavalier that build the Cav Legend comp, as they call it, to really build up the Volley Bear and beyond. But it's Souless that we're watching right now, has the Rage Wing comp here, hasn't committed any items, only has the 2 that he's working with and nothing that he wants to combine into, and doesn't necessarily need to throw this onto the board because he already has that Rage Blade on the Volley Bear, as Kelly had mentioned earlier, to get through these early stages of the game, even if he doesn't want to commit to the pick. That's just an item that's going to work on multiple carries.
I mean, this guy, I can never beat this anymore.
Why haven't we seen much in the way of like Cannoneers, Cannoneer Rebel combos like that? Have they just fallen off? They're not as
saw a
powerful?
few
as they
quirky
were at the
games.
start, or- Few quirky.
Seems like, yeah, the version of it usually relies on Corki being the carry, and we did see a few. If I recall correctly, it didn't look like any of them had gotten online to where they needed to be. In the end, the more sustain-driven and those durable comps, like the ones that got, for instance, in the last round, we had some Corkis, but there were some Jade comps that just had so much strength through and through that were able to out-survive any of that output of damage. So things like the AoE become less effective when that tankiness is difficult to build through and you can't get to that backline.
I love the locket on Senna for the back line there, grabbing some extra tankiness for the 5 units that you have. Just throw them all in the back. Why not?
Why not?
And then it looks like Mirage is going to be Pirate's Greed again, so I don't anticipate any late game focus on Mirage. That's my least favorite. I don't like the here's some money. If you're good at economy, do you really need it?
I feel like there's always, anytime there's some kind of pirate, whether it's this or pirates as a synergy and stuff, there's always people that love to try to make it work in the long run, but it's not always favored, especially with a lot of other ways to get some items for yourself now. So much more variability within the game. Soju, though, facing off against Spencer, who is still riding the high of a reliable front line with the Senna firing from the back.
And finishing up 2-7 right now, and Milk Guy is 40 damage done. Does just reach level 5, clearly going for the lose streak right here, but still, that if you're going to go for the lose streak and you're going to go for that econ, you got to make sure that you're not taking too much damage there, and it is a know gentle balance to be able to find a way to not take too much like health and to be able to lose still. So a bit of a rough position right there, and looks like they're going to be building up Senna right now before they trade off those items onto a different player. Grabbing a Bose right there, potentially going to be going for another Guinsos or maybe even a tankier item.
Getting a bow, getting a belt here for Spencer. And yes, Milk is down there in 60, but hey, if there's anyone that loves to be in the bottom of the lobby at this point in time and come back from that 60 HP, it is Milk. So definitely looking on how he's going to position himself for those later portions of the game to get that late game comp online. And some ground to be broken here. Spencer and Prestivent, though, are the ones streaking currently within this lobby.
Kiyoon, please stay with Rise. I know no one wants it, but I do. Especially with the Lotus, getting that free crit onto your spells, pretty good.
Yeah. No need to build any jeweled gauntlets for them. Thresh hopping onto the Rise right now with that hook. And Namzi able to tank up a decent amount of damage, but in the end, Soju still sticking with a nice early game comp. Guardian Crest still in full effect. Tristana, even with the Zeeks, adding a little more output, and will continue with that strength.
The Zeke's onto the Senna, who has the static. That is just such a great early comp right there. Obviously going to be going Ascension, one of the better augments in the game. Rise 2. Yes, please. And we got the double guild with the with a little twitch right there. Love it. It's this, you know, usually Rise you have to like lead into no. Oh wait, there he is. Okay, sorry. The Namzi traded off, and I thought he replaced it with the Namzi.
We're safe. We're safe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Kiyoon, yep, definitely picking up that Ascension. It's one of those augments that you do want to get earlier on in the game because it does very well against Burst. And while he didn't have it on the first round, does have it on the second. So it should be able to receive some value. And keeping this backline surviving as long as possible, not necessarily committed to anything just yet, and has itemization that is somewhat versatile.
Ooh. I always love to see these dummies. I feel like I never see them in my own games.
Yeah, the phony frontline. One of the OG augments when they started bringing augments in during the last set. I remember when they came through last set, and I was really hoping, I hope they continue with that as a concept through and through. So I'm glad they kept them. And again, one of those things where, yeah, technically early, sometimes you see that value because the additional units on the board tracing some of the targeting from your opponents can buy you enough time for your backline to deal that damage, but then as time goes on, it can lose a bit of value.
Ooh, we already have an orange for Spencer, who is still with 100 HP right now. Obviously a good build between the Bruisers, the Trainers, and the Cannoneers. This is a great start for them once again. But we saw Spencer have a great start last game, and then it kind of just fell off. So let's see how they are able to convert this into the mid and late game, as we are already in 3-3. Wow, this game's going by quickly.
11 points for Spencer overall thus far within this tournament. That's still 9 points behind Kiyoon, who sits in that #1 spot. So not only looking for the top finishing, but hoping that Kiyoon and the like can fall off later on into this game. But no one's going to scoff at an early Senna holding these items until he finds the carry for which he is intending them. Jinx on the opposite side, the last to get hit. Spencer coming out on top to continue his streak.
Like Spencer would like that Jinx over on his side right now.
Yeah, probably.
I'm going to ask a noob question. Spencer clearly has some tank units as well as some damage units, but why does he have them all lined up in the back like that?
The Solari. That item within everyone within 2 hexes gives you damage protection for depending on how much stars you have. It can be 300, 350, or 400. And he also has the augment that gives it a bit of a buff. I think it's a 30% buff. So that just gives you even more protection of damage.
Which explains the aggressive early game that we're seeing out of him. So that's nice to see, especially after was it the last game?
Just did not work out for him.
It was a noble effort. And again, try something different, see if it works. We'll jump back into him. Gets the Sona up there. Nice. Kench out in front. Is this the Cannoneer Reveler build that I was like, I wish we saw more of?
Looks like it is. Well, you were saying you wanted the the Cavalier. I don't think it's Cavalier, but it's going to be...
No, it's just Cannoneer Revel. I also enjoy.
Okay. Yeah, this is going to be Cannoneer Revel. A pretty standard build, honestly, for those within the top ranking of the game. But we haven't seen it too much. We have seen a bunch of Sonas, but we haven't seen that standard Sona Corki build yet.
Gotcha.
A lot ended up pivoting in other directions when they were seeking it before. But right now, Cannoneers still working strong for this comp. Of course, you have the trainer in there because that's just the benefit of the crossover from the Tristana in this one. And then Lulu being such a versatile unit when you can pair for that Namzi, but also Mystic. There's a decent amount of magic output in this game with a lot of the dragons and what they offer later on in the game. So getting a Mystic where you can bring in that Bard later, especially to pair with the Lulu, is something that a lot of players seek out.
We can see, although the Braum is providing that tankiness right now, especially being 2-star and having the belt on them, they just are probably going to be selling it pretty quickly. They do have Tom Kench, but that is a bruiser and a Guardian right there, not giving you the synergy that you want to see.
Milk is... Oh, Jesus. That's not good.
Just trying to see if I could hear what Spencer is saying to his chat. A little bit of strategy from him, but... Yeah, as far as what he's bringing through, you know, we mentioned it before, the better together, working well to get that additional effect off of the Iron Solari here. So some sustainability when going against here. Senna, a lot of long range to be able to lock onto them, but he has a Senna of his own to be able to burst down.
Fast 9. Oh, shit.
Good grind so far by Spencer. I do think there's going to be a bit of a mid-game slowdown here. We've seen that. We saw it in the last game when somebody ran Cannoneers as well. So we'll see if that maintains itself. We haven't had a lot of chances, I think, to check in on Soju recently. I know he just picked up a 2-star release. So we'll look in with him and see where he's at.
Sorry, I was just gasping. Milk's at 20 HP.
Milk!
Yeah, no, he's rapidly nearing his expiration date.
I
wonder what's yeah,
Milk
what's going on with Milk. Yeah, Milk has been quite, man, I wanted to do a follow-up like processed. I don't know if that's the word. Milk basically has been been churned. What am I looking for? I'm talking about
no,
he's competed for a while.
He's curdled. It's curdling.
Curling, yeah.
It is.
Milk has been expressive over the past. I'll just put the info out there, and then you can lay whatever comparison or joke you want to on it in the end. Milk has been around TFT for a while, very consistent player, has qualified for multiple world championships, and has even remarked on his own. Sometimes it feels like he hasn't actually gotten a break when you end up performing that consistently on a tournament level. And you always see him competing, whether it's on the actual circuit, going for some of the finales, whether it's in Twitch Rivals. He and Soju have been previous teammates and the victors of the last Twitch Rivals that specifically featured Soju and a lot of the TFT players. And now hanging out in a lobby with 7 other people he's faced off against pretty regularly, including maybe just last week. And fallen to the wayside a little bit in some of these lobbies with some early exits.
Honestly, I expected some butter puns from you. Disappointed.
That's what I was like, churn something, but I couldn't get there.
You're just uncultured, all right?
For me, yeah.
Oh, I like that. How dare you? It's too many.
I'm a bit cheesy. I'm sorry.
Oh God,
okay.
Stop! I can't take it anymore.
I think we're just skimming the surface. There's a whole lot more that we could do, but this is about 2% of the process so far.
Oh my God!
Now
I'm getting the whole picture here, guys.
Oh, chat's just leaving in rapid, like they're just off.
Absolutely seething in the chat, but anyway, folks, friends, everyone here for a little bit of TFT. We're here choosing our 3rd augment. It's been 2 gold ones thus far, and now looking for another gold. Soju, a bit indecisive in the direction that he wants to go. In previous rounds, had grabbed himself a Earth grab bag, but not the case this time around.
Grab bag's just too random. You never know if you're actually going to get what you want. And if you do get another spatula, awesome, you get another unit. But, you know, again, that's just too random if you're going to be able to get that off of just one of your infights, or if you're going to be able to get out of the carousel. But here we have it. This is we got some Legends action going on right now. Actually, I don't think he's grabbed an Orn yet, and I do see an Orn in the inventory, in the shop. So, excited to see how this is going to be playing out. Did he grab an Orn and it just died really quickly?
Yeah, I believe the Orn ended up falling fairly early at the top. And yeah, because he ends up here at level 7. There's an Orn in the shop right there, but has Legend online, has Cavalier full at 4, that Caval Legend comp that we had mentioned. And if I recall correctly, in the first lobby, I believe Milk was going for this comp, but there were multiple people going for the 3-star Volibear that ended up choking each other out, and that's how he ended up falling early. But right now was really pushing to try to find what he needed, can't actually get there. And instead is at 9 HP at the bottom of the lobby here on 4-3. We're seeing some consistency with Milk and Frodan struggling in the mid-game.
Oh, am I blind? Where is Orn?
You have like a little more HP.
Oh, Oh my gosh. Okay, the Nunu has the emblem.
Oh,
All right,
got
I'm
the total
dumb.
okay, there we go.
Dumb.
I just figured he died right off the top because I couldn't see where any of the emblem is, but there it is. Right there on the Nunu with the Bloodthirster and the Sunfire cape to make this possible.
I was looking at this board for so long, like, what am I missing? Where is the orange? But yeah, okay, that makes way more sense there with the emblem. And honestly, I kind of like the emblem onto the Nunus. That's something that I don't see too often here. Grabbing our 4-4 carousel now, and we have some pretty decent units into our carousel. And we do have that spatula. I don't know if there's any other spatulas in the inventory of our players here, but being able to grab that +1 unit would be quite nice, but also grabbing kind of any emblem that you would want onto your
we could have gone Legend Dragonmancer.
Viable as well.
Let's see what
Roll with the
ends up going on down as far as the pick of the litter here from everyone on carousel. 80 HP still for Spencer at the top, but Robin's the one streaking at 51 HP in third. Nobody eliminated yet, but a couple that are in dangerous territory. That kind of cutoff line between Souless and Frodan is where you're looking for some potential first eliminations, unless there are some pivots at this point in time.
Ooh, Spencer with the 2-star Sona on deck now. And it looks like we're going to be seeing a Hex Tech on Anivia with the Cavalier. This is an interesting build.
So now Anivia gaining some of that AP, also able to continue up the healing for herself as well as an ally. Cavalier trait online. I love the crossover actually, because of the Nunu having the Cavalier, but then also eating up one of the Cavaliers to just show how much he's able to sit in the center of this all. Look at the way that Volibear can get the free fires of all his claws, whipping away, dealing that additional magic damage over time. A single target remaining for them to isolate and take down. Prestivent now the subject of this hit from Milk, who is starting to build back that economy and some of a streak.
We thought that Milk had gone sour, but instead he's jumping over. There's Curdles.
Yeah, I get, but nine health is terrifying. Like, that means he has to be stressed out for the next 25 minutes.
Kiyoon, who is one of our top players in first place, down to 2 HP.
Down to 3. I'm doomed.
Kiyoon right now not finding the same success he has within recent lobbies, putting a mage cap onto this Corki here for the multiple casts.
Are they just waiting for a different dragon, or I don't think I've ever seen Mage Corki.
Hello, Kiyoon.
Yeah, I think right now really just adapting to what was brought through. He actually took an augment specifically for some mage action right now when you already have a Heimer and you're really trying to index into it. And Namzi feeling pretty good. Kiyoon dropped down to 2 HP prior, but able to survive. Checking out the rest of the board for now.
Oh, and we have our first player out of the competition. Unfortunately, that is going to be it for Frodan once again. Oh, no.
Frodan falling down. So, unfortunately, with all the ground to cover, Frodan previously at 7 points, sitting in 7th place prior to this round number 4. And now will only be at 8. Milk was at 6, so Milk should have an opportunity if he can continue to streak and knock a couple more down to pull his way through, but still losing out on the opportunities to get your points in these rounds.
Looks like they're going to be going for a little bit of tankiness, and Lulu going for that chalice to give Corki just a little bit more attack power there. Sunfire's on to Silas is pretty standard right there, and Siphon with still no items on deck.
Throwing the Siphon in here, because leaning into that mage means that Corki able to synergize well with that Silas in the front line, and then having that Whisper trait online, you throw in the Siphon, you've got that for level, so just a bit more of that impact from this front line.
And we just need 6 more rounds for Namzi to get to its 4th level.
Super numb.
But when you're this low in HP, I just don't know if that's going to be happening. I do like the AoE buffs though that we see from Lulu coming out.
Yeah, having a couple of those ice cream cones or the chalice of power there for that additional ability power onto those side. It means even Namzi is going to hit harder with that ability as well. And being that it is Trainer 3, this is the recently buffed up version of Namzi, but eventually gets blasted down by the Corki that's able to free fire from the end. You can see what that fourth missile is able to do, but in the end, it is his Corki that's able to survive. So still sticking in this right now, Kiyoon.
Hello.
Still at 2 HP. Oh, that double ulti.
They were so lucky. Yeah, that Corki. You're right. The Mage Corki is what saved them.
It's the Mage Corki. Twice, because he got it off 3 times, so it's just a massive.
All right. What are you going to be going? You can see Evoker, Mystic. They're taking a look at some of the other unfinished synergies that they have on deck. They could be going for Revel. Obviously, that's going to be a great combination with Corki, but instead could be skipping out on it. What do we got there? We got our legends on deck, but Milk Guy also quite low, but with a 5 win streak, doing a pretty good job.
Has now reached that 5 Cavalier, still working on those legends, and has the Dragonmancer available as well for this Volibear to continue slashing on through. So since you're not able to go completely on the chase for those 3 stars, having a couple durable units that can spread across is one way. But that Mage Corki that we just visited for Kiyoon, because think about it, that Corki though, he's taken down. So in the end, Kiyoon does fall. We're seeing a great issuing of some synergy using that Jeweled Lotus, even had the Infinity Edge on his Corki since he didn't need a crit gauntlet because of that augment, so he can output that additional damage with the double casting, but met his maker in these units that were so difficult to burn down with that burst, and thus ended up falling. Kiyoon going down in 7th place.
This is going to be a great opportunity for the rest of the lobby because Kiyoon was currently in first place after game number 3. So this is going to give a chance for a lot of other players that want that 13th gen Intel processor to climb up the leaderboard.
I mean, I do think that was as much as he still went out in second to last, Kiyoon pivoted aggressively, put that mage, the Giant Slayer on there tells me that's not how he originally wanted to build this thing. So he would go a little deeper. And if he ends up winning this by 1 point, you know, because that's the reality is they're so close at the top, everyone can have one bad game theoretically. We'll all give a nod to that and say, all right, you cheeky dude, that Mage Corki may have pulled off what you needed to. It was fascinating to watch. Now we're going to tune back into Soju. I do want to, as we watch Soju, though, say Milk is blowing my mind that he's still kicking and kill streaking.
Well, that looks like it's going to be the case once again. And yeah, grabbing these legends, especially grabbing this new legend, is super unique. And having the Cavalier emblem onto Anivia, this is just giving them so much more than they would have normally.
Not really.
Soju hanging on with 4 HP after that loss in multiple. He, in the second augment round, had picked up Hot Shot, which is very specific to Cannoneers, but looks like he had to pivot and go in a different direction. So you nullify some of that power that you had previously indexed into. Currently holding on to this number 6 spot as Milk is still streaking with that 9 HP.
Whew.
That's a wild streak.
Soju's just waiting.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused. Maybe he just thinks that it's like too little too late, going to be going for the Evoker instead, but that's not going to be enough when you already have 2 Evoker and you're going to need that 3 or 2 more. So it's probably going to be looking for another Evoker unit. Does get the Sona too on deck, but still, again, not too sure about that pick from the carousel. Aoshin is looking quite nice, looking pretty tanky. Got some good items on him. But the Silas, the Ornn one, I just don't know if that's going to be enough.
And you can't make the Aoshin, so gonna put that onto the Ornn. So at the very least, even though you don't necessarily bump up to the next tier of Evoker, you do grant that buff to Ornn specifically. So he will now be granted that extra mana upon the ability cast across the board. So you're hoping to get a couple more of those charges off. But is it enough? Right now, firing from the back line, Soju putting all of his hopes on his dragon here. Lulu managing to polymorph some, but the stun isn't very long in the end. And as soon as this Thresh goes down, that's the entirety of the front line, but the damage is good. Another cast comes off. So the victory achieved by Soju. 4 HP. Unfortunately for him, Milk is still in as well. And you are looking for those other low HP players to be eliminated. But still, you survive in Soju. You surviving.
With that
And you survived against Spencer, the leader of the lot,
Right.
like leader of this
No,
match. So
totally.
that's a big
And I
one.
always feel like
that's a tough
Ao
one.
Shin without the mage is like not that viable of a unit, but then I forget that he has the Archangel, and if you just give him like, you know, a few seconds, he's going to be doing so much damage, and that's exactly what we saw right there.
Yeah, dealing that magic damage, draining the mana as well. So after he gets that first cast, you're eliminating the casting potential from your opposition there. Enough for Soju to stay kicking. Spencer still in the #1 spot though, 37 HP.
Do you see
Very,
much
very
gold?
close though after that.
You see much gold? Yes. That's so much.
Woo! He's waiting on it at
Wow.
level 8. 90 gold in the bank here.
Yep. But this,
So is he just waiting for a player to be eliminated so he can burn it all and get released units, or why sit on 94?
I think it's the Midas, isn't it? That item that they have.
He wants to, just acquiring as much of that gold as possible because he has Shimmer Scale
Gotcha.
in here. So that's the nice thing about some of the items that you grant from this so that you can just really, really build into that econ. Right now, it's a crit gauntlet, jeweled coming off.
It's the Corky's Gambler's Blade. He gets a 1% bonus attack speed per gold, but it's only up to 80. So I don't know why he has 97. That seems a bit of a waste.
If he's increasing his attack speed with the other itemization that he has in the Rage Blade, so then you're just increasing the amount so much. Oh, it's quite a way for him to capitalize, and that's why he's keeping this at 80 right now within the gold and rolling down only to that point because you do get the bonus attack speed per that gold in your bank here. So it's nice.
Ooh. Ooh. All right, Corky. We got the 2 on deck, but he's going to be going for the 3. You can see him buying up all the 5 cost units here and trying to just grab, oh God, who is the next Bard 2? I'm guessing is what he's going to be looking for right now. You could literally get an Ao Shin 2 right now if you wanted, but that wouldn't be very viable with the Idis already on.
Wow, what a pivot.
Quick hands. So Corky getting Zephyred right here off the top though. So delaying some of that damage output, but the front line has been taking enough thus far. You do have a Soraka in here to get that healing, to offset some of that initial damage that was offered by Robin. Sunfire Board doing some work as well, but it's not enough. Look at the smallest of units, as legendary as they are so squishy once everyone else is eliminated, and Robin breaks through the burn for the round victory.
I wonder if Spencer kind of regrets taking off the Gambler's Blade off of Corky to put on the Jeweled Gauntlet instead, losing that attack speed bonus and getting a bit of a crit out of it. But God, I just can't imagine that being the right play right now.
Yeah, I think
He spent.
it's just, I think, you're at that point where I have to start spending or not because everyone is in that 1 to 2 rounds away from elimination territory. And it feels really bad when, even if you are using it for some kind of buff, when you die with that much gold, and having the crit gauntlet on the Corky because he already had the infinity edge for that combo is something that he's looking for that additional burst, and can still get some of the value onto the Tristana here with the Cannoneer. And in this particular case, still sitting at 10 HP, able to burn into this backline. A couple more hits will do it. The BT ain't enough for the surviving. We're in the top 3 right now. Milk eliminated, but a higher placing for Milk than previous rounds.
And I love the play from Spencer there. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying, trading at the Idis for the Shyvana Nico, and then grabbing the 2-star Nico there, grabbing that tankiness that Idis wasn't able to provide, doing a great job right now, kind of adapting to the rest of the lobby and using that for a bit of success, especially when they're so low, down to 10 HP. What? Wait, what? What am I seeing right now?
So we're at that point of the game where there's 3 remaining, and you can position very specifically for the opposition. The indicator showing that he was going to be facing off against Prestivent, who is running these assassins. You see that Diana, that's pretty big, starting to get burned, and even with that repositioning, able to get here way into the back to cut through. A lonely Varus did end up getting the Varus 3, so Robin really committing to that direction, but not enough for the late game commitment to these assassins.
All right.
At the start of the show, we talked about, will we see a Varus 3? Does anybody want to even try to do that? And Robin answers the question, though it didn't really seem to pan out that time.
Poor Spencer does get knocked out, though, for that game. And now we have just 2 players remaining now. We do have the Assassin comp going up against Robin.
Yes. Yeah, we haven't actually checked in with Robin's board, I think, for or not Robin's board. Yeah, actually, this one right here is with the mages.
See, Astrals
going. Yeah.
Astrals are still relevant.
Yeah, so he's putting him in the front, or it's Prestivent's board. Where we hadn't actually checked in with it for a bit. Where we were talking about Olaf. Yeah, the only reason that you really see him and 3-starred now is if you're able to get that assassin spat and working into that scale horn. This is a trait that was designed to be anti-dragon, as most other comps will have some kind of dragon. Hasn't been seen as much recently, but when the scenario is just right for it, as it seems to be right now, it is exactly what Prestivent needs to break into this, to take down Robin and get the lobby victory.
Congratulations. And a very big win for Prestivent going into this match. They